great and
Peace, fam. Damn. Peace, family. Peace, family. Peace, family. Give everybody a chance to come in. Give everybody a chance to come in. Peace, family. Y'all please like it up and share it as you come in, man. Please like it up and share it as you come in. Okay. This is going to be a very interesting live that we have today. Give me a second. Now, I know y'all like it up and share it. Tiana Jerry, welcome to the live reflection. Horace Taylor, welcome to the live, God. Y'all please like it up. Drop them nines, too, to let me know that y'all could hear me, okay? Cold Cuss say, we live, baby. We most definitely live, baby. Drop them nines and let me know that y'all can hear me. Also, please don't hesitate to share it, man, so other people will know that we live, man. Y'all know I've been having a hard time just trying to push the information that I have, okay? Michelle, welcome to the live. Goddess. Willie Wooden, welcome to the live, God. Thanks for sharing, Tiana Jerry. Young Money, peace, reflection, welcome to the live. Welcome to the live. Trying to give everybody a little time to come in, man. I know when it comes to topics like this, okay, it's a lot of people that truly don't want to deal with these type of topics, right? And to be honest with you, man, it makes me feel a type of way, right? It tees me off to the core, right? Because I truly feel like, it's so many people out here that say they don't want us to be separate, okay? They don't want us to be divided, so on and so forth. But until we can deal with issues like this, we're always going to be divided, okay? And to me, it's sad, bro. It's very sad that a lot of people have not yet come to the conscious conclusion that until we can work as a collective whole, this planet is in trouble. It's in trouble. Y'all like it up and share it, man. This planet it's in real trouble, bro. And I say that because we're still facing a lot of the things that we faced. I'm talking about in the 1950s. We still have states that have yet began to, they haven't even overcome the issues that we were dealing with in the 1950s when Martin Luther King marched, when Malcolm X was talking. You understand what I'm saying? When Farrakhan was in his prime, so on and so forth, okay? We have yet to get over those things, bro. But it's so many people who say that they want us to get past this, man. Y'all please like it up and share it, bro, because we're going to cut into this. We're going to most definitely cut into this, And I'm not coming from a negative standpoint, bro. But, hold on. Let me, give me a second, man. And see, I know it's a lot of people, when they see the title, they ain't going to tune in to begin with. But then again, we do know that Facebook, they don't want to push certain things like this too. These certain topics that Facebook don't want to push. So I will say this. Let me say this first and foremost, man. Everything, this is for entertainment purposes only, okay? I have to say that. This is for entertainment purposes only, and I'm not telling anyone to take my advice on anything that's being portrayed in this video, all right? But what I am asking you to do is use discernment when you deal with this, okay? But for me, when I see a video like this, bro, or when I see a situation like this that's taking place, bro, it reminds me of how far we have come. We have not, that we haven't went that far to begin with, okay? We have not yet begun to move forward in terms of the way that we need to in order to ascend as a collective whole, when we still have to deal with situations like this. Now, with that being said, let me start it off with the right energy, man. Y'all please like it up and share it too, man. Please like it up and share it. Because as I said, man, I'm fighting really over here to try to get any of my messages out, because the messages that I put out, they ain't really about no gang. You feel me? Ain't no game. Teeny Meanie, welcome to the live. Antonio Johnson say, obviously they still on the same shit. That's facts. Facebook is pushing a racist agenda. That's facts. I truly do believe that. I wouldn't say that, but they don't want to. What I really believe is Facebook is pushing a non-informational agenda, okay? They don't want certain information getting out there. And it's sad, bro, because I know it's a lot of people, man, who get these notifications, man, but because they see the title of it, they don't want to tune in, man. And that should let you know, for me, that says a lot about who I'm dealing with. All right, y'all drop them nines, man, and like it up and share it, man, please. Drop them nines and like it up and share it, man. But for me, that says a lot about who I'm dealing with, man, and the people who follow me, right? Because they steer away from these type of subjects. And I don't know if Facebook is really pushing these lives or what. You know what I'm saying? But I do know this. It's a lot of people that's going to steer away from these subjects, bro, because it's sensitive subjects. People don't want to hear about it. They don't want to hear about what's going on in Mississippi right now with this bill. Okay, so a lot of you, I want to say a couple days ago, y'all heard me speak on the fact that Mississippi had passed a bill, all right, which is called the House Bill of 1020, right? And they're calling this bill the new Jim Crow bill. This isn't the bill that came out of my mouth. I mean, this isn't the words that's coming out of my mouth. You say, I keep going off. Wanda Gibbs say, I keep going off. This is crazy. Y'all drop them nines if y'all can hear me, y'all. These aren't the words, okay, that's coming out of my mouth. I want y'all to understand this. This is what this bill was actually being called. And it's actually caused a lot of chaos right now in Mississippi. It's a lot of protesting that's taking place because of this bill, okay? And so what this bill, see, when I first heard about this bill and what made me want to get into this bill is because I was at work today, right? And I heard a lot of people actually talking about the bill, and they were making it seem like, when you call something Jim Crow, you got to make sure that, it ain't what, we ain't going back to the point of lynching and things like that. And that's how they was trying to make it sound, okay? Sunshine Moon say, I finally got the notification, but it will not let me play the video. That's crazy. Patrick McNair said, the truth shall set you free. That's fact. But when I first heard this bill, right, when I heard people at work talking about this bill, the first thing that came to my mind, right, was, because people was they were saying that they were talking about going to the point of noosing people. So for those of you who don't know what noosing is, that means hanging people again. I'm like, whoa, Mississippi is talking about going back to hanging people? Now, when you have a title like Jim Crow, you can only assume that things are turning for the worse. You see what I'm saying? Because we all know the history of Jim Crow, all right, on so many different levels. All right, so I'm like, no, I don't see Mississippi doing a thing like that because of the history that it has with this type of thing. Now, we know when it comes to racism and things like that, Mississippi was one of the last states, okay? And still to this day, it's certain places being a so-called black man, you cannot go in Mississippi because it's still a lot of racism that lingers about in that town. And I don't know how many people actually follow me from Mississippi, but if they're on here, I know that they can attest to what I'm saying. It's a fact that they can attest to what I'm saying. Am I freezing? Drop them nines, man. If I'm not freezing. What the hell? Okay, yeah. So I know it's a lot of people that can attest to what I'm saying. Okay, but what this bill is not. It hadn't got that worse. Okay, and I'm glad that it ain't got that worse. Okay, it hadn't got that far. But what this bill was attempting to do is basically attempting to take voting power from the well, you have to understand that this bill is taking place in the capital of Mississippi, which is Jackson, Mississippi, okay? And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to take the voting power away from the voters in the community, okay? Which we know when we talk about Jacksonville, Mississippi, majority, it's over 85% of the population is black, okay? Let's just put it out there, all right? And so what they want to do is they want to use basically elected officials to basically not vote people in, but place people into their position, these judges, okay? And the seats are going to be permanent at that point. They won't have to vote anymore, okay? And so also what they're trying to do is they're trying to create their own courthouse to separate them from another courthouse. Well, the smaller part of the community, which will be the majority white side of the community, they want their own courthouse, okay? So they wouldn't have to deal with whatever it is that goes on or takes place in the more larger side of the community, being the 85%, all right? And so the reason I can see how this could be an issue, okay? For me, I can truly see how this could be an issue, all right? And the only reason I say that is because, you know, when you talk about taking voting power out of the people's hands, then you're going against the Constitution, okay? The Constitution was set up in a way that you would not have to face these type of things, right? Willie wouldn't say, I'm from Mississippi, you're right. And he's referring to what I said earlier when I said that it's a lot of places that you still can't go in Mississippi to this very moment. You see what I'm saying? Y'all please like it up and share it if you in. Like it up and share it, because I feel like this is a subject that needs to be heard, okay? So right now, it's a lot that's going on in Mississippi, bro, and I really do feel like at this point, what they're truly trying to say is that the leaders of the black community is incapable of basically running the community and keeping the violence out of the community. So therefore, they want to take it in their own hands by taking the voting rights away from the people and electing who it is they want to elect until further notice. All right. And so Perez Richardson say, I'm in Mississippi. So y'all know what's going on out there. I mean, it's a lot of BS going on. But look, let's jump into this, man, because I don't really hold y'all too long. But I'm going to ask that you please like this video up and share it, man, so other people can find this video. Man, Facebook right now is giving me a hard time. And I want to say that I'm using this video under the Fair Use Act. This is for me. This is for educational purposes only, man. I want to make people aware of what is going on because from my understanding, it's still rioting. And I don't know. Let me know, Perez Richardson, have they already passed this bill in Mississippi? Or anybody who do know, drop the nines and let me know if they already passed this bill in Mississippi.
On this show, we want to introduce you to some of the states of our disunion, states where Americans are struggling to exercise their right to vote, to make their way out of poverty, and to live free of government control of their wombs. We will cover the states facing the hardest struggles for democracy, the ones banning books and curtailing the right to choose and passing draconian anti-trans laws. But we'll also show you some of the states that are winning, where our democracy is working. But tonight we want to start with a state that unfortunately is still stuck in its white supremacist past, Mississippi, where a white supermajority in the heavily gerrymandered state house voted to create an entirely separate court system and expanded police force within the city of Jackson, the blackest city in America, that would be appointed completely by white state officials. That means that the voters of Jackson, which is 80% black, do not get to elect the judges or prosecutors in this separate district, unlike what happens in every other part of the state. White officials currently hold all the statewide positions that would do the appointing, and no black official has ever held any of these positions.
And so you have to understand why this is, for them, a major problem, because if it's only so-called white people that hold these positions, and they're going to be the ones that's going to be appointing people to these positions without having, other people come in and vote, then that means that, everything is going to be done from a standpoint in which they believe in, okay? And then we know how it is. This is just like going into a workplace where, and I mean no disrespect when I say this, but you know what? I have to say it like it is, man. And I'm hoping that it's a mature audience that's watching today, right? And no one will take offense to it, man. And they would just take it for what it is, all right? But it's just like going into a workplace where, the majority of the people in there, when we talk about, favoritism and things like that, and you seeking a position, you maybe want to step into a management position, or you want to step into a supervisor position, and the majority of the people in there that can possibly get you in there or deciding who it is that they want to sit in this seat is swaying more toward a certain ethnical group, whether that be white, black, Hispanic, so on and so forth. You have to understand that when you're dealing with that type of stuff, then the chances of anyone that's getting in that's not a part of that particular group is rare, okay? I know myself. I've been through it, and I'm pretty sure it's plenty of people on here who've been through that as well, okay? So when we talk about dealing with a situation where the majority people who are sitting in the places that can elect people in, or who are going to be doing the placing of people in positions, right, are majority white, then you have to understand that that means that there will be the chances of more darker race, meaning the so-called black man or any other race, for that matter, getting into that seat is going to be rare. Let's just deal with the facts. Drop them nines if you agree with what I'm saying. Okay? And I'm pretty sure it's a lot of people on here who can see through it. Okay? And not to mention, they're talking about expanding the police, their police force that governs over the specific area in which the Capitol sits in, and they want to expand it into the city. And what the mayor is arguing is he's saying that we're already having issues in the community when we dealing with police brutality. Okay, and why is this important? Because we know the history of Mississippi. Okay, and we're dealing with a majority black neighborhood. See, I'm gonna tell you what the real issue is. Okay, the real issue is that even if you have people on this police force who would not consider themselves racist, right? They have been raised by racist people. Now, I want you to understand that 1960s wasn't too long ago. That was no more than about 50, 60 years ago. So with that being said, the majority of the people that's on like my grandparents, mothers, or my grandparents, they grew up in that era. Okay? They grew up in that era. And I want you to understand that majority of them were indoctrinated to believe a certain thing. And see, this is why we have an issue right now. This is why people are struggling to outgrow this situation right now, because that issue has yet to be overcome. We still have people that still living in that generation and who were raised by people who live in that generation with that man state, and they're still indoctrinating people with that man state. This is why this is an issue.
In fact, the last time a black Mississippian held statewide office was during Reconstruction. And the state, despite being 1/3 African-American, is gerrymandered to have exactly one black congressman, Representative and January 6th Committee Chairman Benny Thompson. Meanwhile, the Republican who introduced this draconian bill says it's because of the high crime rates and backlog of court cases in the county that contains Jackson, which, did I mention, is the state capital. Jackson's mayor has called the plan colonialist and racist and said it reminds him of apartheid. And joining me now is the mayor of Jackson, Chokwe Antar Lumumba. And Mayor Lumumba, please explain how it can be possible that the capital of Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi, is, I think, to your point, going to be governed under apartheid style.
Well, I think that to speak to it honestly, I'm reflecting on the words of Coach Dennis Green, who once said that they are who we thought they were. As we've been calling out these clearly racist policies, that has been done much to the chagrin of state leadership, saying that we're giving Mississippi a black eye. And to be clear, it is not our words that give Mississippi a black eye. It is the actions that they're taking, actions that will not allow or disenfranchise voters in Jackson, Mississippi.
And so who you looking at right now is you're looking at the mayor of Jacksonville.
Particular law is fraught with constitutional violations, equal protection. It is seeking to create a district which is the most densely white populated area in the city of Jackson, in addition to a police force or a militarized force that does not have direct accountability to the residents. Within the district that already exists, there have been numerous claims of issues of police misconduct that are not being challenged, that are not being followed up on.
Right. And see, I understand. Garden Jason says, if it takes that to get peace, I'm all in. And you know what? At first, I was thinking from that perspective as well. I'm like, well, you know what? Are we digging too deep about this situation? Are we looking in it too deep? You know what I'm saying? And the reason I asked myself that was because it's like, if it's all about bringing the community, together and stopping all of the violence that's taking place in the community, then I'm most definitely for it, because, I don't want to see nobody end up being hurt. But when you look at it from his perspective and what he's saying, listen to what he just said. He just said, the police officers that they want to come in, being the militant police group, okay, or being militant officers, are going to come in and they have no ties to this community, okay? And he's saying that he feels like it's only going to worsen the situation, because at this very moment, they're already having issues with the police who already are police in the neighborhood. When they're dealing with police brutality already, dealing with the ones who are police in the neighborhoods. Now, I want you to understand that majority of those police officers are going to be, white. I mean, I wouldn't say that because it's a black community, but they are having they're having issues already. And then when they try to get something done about it, it's nothing that's being done. Okay, so now when you moving in a certain group of people into these communities, when we're talking about majority white police officers, and then you have a bunch of majority white officers that's sitting on the bench, okay, and then issues are being raised about them coming into community because they have no ties to this community. They're already looking at the community like, it's a violent, riddick community. It's a low poverty community. Okay, so they're looking at them like they're beneath them to begin with. You have to understand, bro, because they are not a part of the community. Okay, and so they're going to come in with a violent mind state to begin with. They're not going to come in. We've seen this in incidents where people, have ties in the community and they still have that violent mind state. They act out of violence first. They don't use proper procedure in terms of handling situations. Okay. And so basically, what he's saying is that when we talk about them coming in and they're using violence, okay, toward certain people, and then we raise issues about that, we already know ain't nothing going to take place because of the people that are sitting in office, on the benches, the judges. You understand what I'm saying? And the people that they are the ones who appointed these people to the communities. Okay? So I see the issue, man. And I want y'all drop them names if you understand what I'm saying or what I'm trying to communicate.
So there's a multitude of concerns here.
It sounds like 1980 era Pretoria. I mean, in 1890, Mississippi enacted a racist constitution to strip African Americans of any rights and the right to vote because of the really, historic and heavy voting by former enslaved people to elect statewide officials and the lieutenant governor to really, make an incredible strides.
And listen to what she said in 1989. See, you have to understand that Mississippi has a bad history, y'all, when it comes to these type of things. In 1989, they tried to strip the black voters of their rights then. That wasn't too long ago. I wasn't born too far from that point.
How could it be that more than 100 years after the Civil War, Mississippi still is governed this way when it has the highest black population in the entire country, percentage-wise?
Well, I thank you for recounting that history, Joy, because along with that history was a narrative that said that it was in it was in black people's interest not to be burdened with that heavy weight of having to select electoral leadership, much in the same way as they have created this district that they set to appoint the representative who created this legislation.
That's crazy. They cut my line. You know what it is? They don't want the numbers to get too high, Miguel Ortiz. That's what it is.
Or introduced this legislation, suggested that the reason that he thought that these judges should be appointed rather than elected is because we wanted, quote, the best of the best, which is to suggest that Jackson residents are not intelligent enough or aware of their needs enough in order to elect those individuals for themselves. And so this has been a
And I want to say with that statement alone, man, it says a lot. You're saying that we wanted the best of the best, right? And you're insinuating that, the people that live in that community are very dumb and they can't determine who it is that they want to sit in the seat. Therefore, we need to take their voting rights away from them. We don't need to allow them to vote people into the seat because they don't really know what's best for them. And so therefore, allow us to just place people in the seats because we know what's best for the community, even though we're not a part of the community. Even though we don't live in the community. You see how that works? When in all actuality, we already know, bro, that they're not looking out for the best interest of the community. They're looking out for the best interest of themselves, okay? Because when they do things like this, they're basically ensuring that only certain people is going to be able to get the seat. And this goes against constitutional rights. Understand that.
Battle that we've been in.
You think they really look? Let me tell y'all something, man. Do you think they really care about black on black crime in the community We're talking about a group of people who have never came from a situation like this to begin with. Let's just say it how it is. I'm just going to say it how it is, bro. When you're dealing with a group of people who have never been subjected to this environment or environments like this, then you have to understand, bro, that they don't care. They don't care about black on black crime. They don't care about how the community looks. I keep telling y'all, man, one thing you have to understand is that there is no coincidence that when we talk about communities like this, bro, that there is a liquor store on every corner in the community. They make liquor stores easily accessible so that communities like this will do the job for them. They're not invested. Because when we talk about putting certain people on the stand, bro, you have to understand that, bro, these are not their people. Let's just say it like it is. I ain't gonna even cut it. I'm not gonna even, you feel me? I'm not finna sugarcoat it or nothing. Okay? Facts, but that's just to say they celebrate black on black crime. You see what I'm saying? This is the issue. I keep telling y'all, bro, when we dealing with lower poverty communities, because I can assure you, bro, I can guarantee you $1,000 to a bucket of shit, right? Majority of those communities that surrounding the capital are low poverty neighborhoods. These are low poverty communities. Why do you think that the violence rate is so high in the community? Okay? Because of the drugs that's being pushed in the community by the government. Okay? Understand that. The drugs are being pushed into the communities by the government. All right? Because of the liquor stores that are easily accessible and are being placed on almost every corners in the communities by the government. Understand that, bro. It's a strategic movement. Okay? But I can guarantee you when you go into the more suburban areas of the community, then you're not going to be able to find liquor stores being that easily accessible. You're not going to be able to walk outside your door and see people selling drugs on the corner. Okay? It's not going to be that easily accessible. You feel me? Trent Ruin say poverty breeds crime, and that's facts. Okay? Understand what I'm trying to tell you here. Okay? So you have to understand that when we talk about putting people in certain, it's not, they don't care, bro. They don't care. It's all about, see, you have to understand that everything goes back to that almighty dollar, y'all. Everything, they don't want nobody coming in and messing up what they got going on. So they understand that if they're the ones who appoint people to these seats, then there's not going to be an issue. And just like the mayor is saying, because these police officers who are not of their ethnical group are going to be policing the community, 9 times out of 10, the police brutality rate is going to begin to rise. It's going to begin to rise because they have nothing, they have no investment in the community. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, when they come over there and they start seeing gunshots or they start seeing people selling drugs, it's going to be, we're going to chase them down. We're going to beat them with our batons. Okay, it's going to be, we shooting, we pulling our guns and asking questions later. Okay, he looked like he got a cell phone in his head and he looked like he finna shoot something. Let's get him before he get us. The crime rate is going to rise. Okay? Magatir Ruffs, Shakur say survival of the fittest. Anarchy, that's facts. Y'all drop them names. Y'all see them numbers, man. Them numbers is low, bro. You want to know why? Because don't nobody care. When they see about, you think that the world don't know what's going on in Mississippi right now? Do y'all really think that the world don't know what's going on in Mississippi right now? But the title alone, bro, is something that people don't care about. You feel me?
For some time. It is because they are allowed to bring Trojan horses such as the Capitol Complex District, which was initially introduced in 2017 as a suggested aid to infrastructure. At that time, myself, along with a coalition of people that called ourselves the Coalition of Economic Justice, opposed it because we saw what it was. But you did have some legislators that looked like us who were in support. But I do want to be clear that what they were presented with was not what we see today. They were presented with an opportunity to assist a community that is in much need of infrastructure support. And so we're forced to compete against our interests.
There's still a water crisis in Jackson. Federal funds have been pledged. It appears now that the Mississippi white legislators are trying to take over those funds and take them out of your hands and other elected local Jackson officials' hands. This, as Brett Favre is threatening to sue the people who pointed out that he was in possession of funds to build his daughter a volleyball complex that belonged to the impoverished people in the state of Mississippi. He was essentially in a mode of taking from the poor, and now he's suing for his reputation back.
Look at that. Did y'all hear what she just said? Here it is. He's in possession of these people's funds that were supposed to have been put into their community to ensure that the community got the help that it needed. But he decided to take the funds that he had in his possession and to give it to his daughter to build her a tennis court. He was going to build his daughter a tennis court, and because people are calling him out on it, now he's suing them. Make it make sense. You hear me? Make it make sense. How does that work, man? And so this is what I'm trying to tell you. That's a prime example of what I said from Jump Street, okay? Now, Nina Smith said, did you hear about the people that got kidnapped, missing in Mexico? They said the 2 people is safe, but they don't know where they're at. How do they know they are safe, but don't know where they're at? That's facts, Nina Smith. That's facts. I'm going to have to check that out. I'm going to look into that. But yeah, look at this. This is a prime example of what I was just saying, bro. They don't care about the community. Here it is. You're in possession of funds that are supposed to be used to help grow the community, but yet and still, you take those funds and want to use them funds when I'm pretty sure you have money. You have enough money to build your daughter a tennis court. Majority of these politicians that are in these positions, they're wealthy. They have more than enough money to do these type of things. And they're living way better than me and you. Understand that. They living way better than us. So why is it that you want to take from the poor to give it to your daughter to build her a tennis court, and then after you got called out on it, you want to sue the people that called you out? That's a prime example of me saying, bro, they don't care. They don't care, and it's only going to, if they push these police officers into the communities, bro, it's going to raise the violence level of the community. It really is. Because majority of these people did not come from these communities, neither did they come from communities like these. So therefore, they don't even know how to handle certain situations. They don't even know how to deal with certain situations, especially pertaining to things like this.
It feels like everything is upside down in Jackson and in Mississippi.
It feels that way because that's the truth. And at a time where the state is littered with questions of integrity, where there's incompetence there, they charge communities like Jackson, who have been devoid of resources, of being the ones that are incompetent. There has been a willful indifference or a intentional neglect around the issues that Jackson needs.
Yeah.
And this is part and parcel of the larger effort.
And my guess is I'll bet you Tate Reeves and them are busy trying to pass laws, trying to outlaw history, because you wouldn't want people to learn how we got here. Jackson, Mississippi Mayor Chokwe Antar Lumumba, thank you very much.
Man, I want y'all to understand, man, Jacksonville, Mississippi in general, man, still has ugly. You see, it's people in here. You feel me? I'm gonna tell y'all, man. I'm gonna tell y'all something, man. Look, it's people in the chat box right now that can attest to what I'm saying when it comes to Mississippi and the way that they still feel when it comes to they have yet to grow, and that's the sad part. That's the sad part, that they have yet to begin to even grow. Now let's check this out.
The Mississippi State Senate is considering a controversial bill that critics call the 21st century Jim Crow. The area near the Capitol government buildings right now in Jackson, that area has its own district patrolled by Capitol police officers. Republican lawmakers in the State House have passed a bill that would expand that specially designated district to encompass about...
And so this is what I'm talking about, how they want to take these Capitol, the police officers that basically police the capital area. They want to take that and they want to push them into, they want to expand that into the communities that, you know, the 83% of the community, the majority black community, all right? And I say the mayor is saying that there's going to be an issue because they're already having cases of brutality, of police brutality, dealing with the officers that are already in the community, okay? And so when we talk about taking voting power away from the people and allowing the ones who already have seats to vote people in to the capital seats, then that's the issue.
Third of Jackson's population, including the densest populated white neighborhoods and also some of the city's most affluent. This would also set up a separate court system for that district. Jackson as a whole is 83% black. Critics of this move say it's basically the white minority of the city taking control from the black leaders of a majority black city. It's a move the city's mayor has called racist and likened to apartheid. CNN's Omar Jimenez is live for us in Jackson, Mississippi at the state capitol. And Omar, the state Senate has made a few key changes to the House bill. How are residents and city leaders reacting to those changes?
Yeah, we just got out of a hearing with some of those residents and city leaders, and really what they said, they were voicing concerns about how to address public safety here in Jackson, where violence has spiked in recent years, but more specifically, they were voicing concerns about this bill. Now, some of the key changes from when it was first introduced on the House side to where it is now on the Senate side.
Hey, I can agree with you, Perez Richardson. He's saying that mayor knows that they've been taking funds. He wants to say something now because they finna cut his piece of the pie. Hey, I can fully agree with you on that because I don't care about. Look, let me tell you something, man. When you talking about dealing with politicians, man, bro, I don't put nothing past these people. I don't care what color you are. That don't matter. Okay, I come from a community, bro, where the politicians, bro, they stole everything from the community. Every government fund that was supposed to be given to the community, they took it from the community. They was going on trips with it, buying the finest steak out the finest steak houses. Okay, they was the summer job that was meant for the children in the community. They was taking those summer jobs and giving those summer jobs to the children in their family. Bro, I know exactly what goes on, bro. And so when you're talking about dealing with issues like this, bro, it goes way beyond what we think it is. Okay, it goes way beyond that.
Is rather than having a single district with these state-appointed judges and an expanded jurisdiction of this Capitol Police Force, that jurisdiction now expands citywide. You still, though, have the issue of having judges appointed by state leaders, which in this case are majority white, instead of elected judges in a city that is more than 80% black. So therein lies one of the major issues, and that jurisdiction of the Capitol Police Force would expand citywide, meant to strike an agreement with the Jackson Police Force on how to police, in theory, together. So I want you to take a listen to the district attorney over the area of Jackson, along with the mother of a man who was killed by a Capitol police officer, and why she believes this expansion is not a good idea.
It's laughable to talk about new bills, doing new things when we have now addressed the old problems. The problem is not the police, the problem is the system that we're not funding to actually get the system working.
Because I know there are bills that this legislature has introduced that will expand Capitol Police Authority, possibly to the entire city of Jackson, and that terrifies me. It also angers me.
But I will tell you this, man, when you see these victims get up here and they speak, these elected court officials already, like the mayor, people who want to fight against this bill being pushed, they bringing these people in. Overstand that, bro. They don't reach out to these people because majority of the community, man, they don't even pay attention to things like this. And this is how this bill was able to actually be slipped in without any noise being made about it from the get-go, because the community is not being made aware of these things from the jump. The only reason the community knows about this, see, Michelle say, I keep freezing. This is what they want, okay? The only reason the community is being made aware of this from the jump is because they don't want the bill to go through, because just like somebody just said, it's a possibility that, you know, they could take theirs. They can miss out on their piece of pie.
And there is a lot of anger around this. You look no further than T-shirts, we've seen that it's Jackson versus everybody, which is how many residents feel. Now, proponents of this bill, including its Republican sponsors, say that this is really needed to help keep Jackson safer and to increase and bolster resources towards judges in these cases, or a judiciary that hasn't seen as much investment to keep up with the pace of what they've had to deal with. But obviously, opponents of this say there are better ways to address those concerns than this.
All right, Omar Jimenez in Jackson, Mississippi.
I will say that that I don't believe that it's going to, in certain situations, man, I don't believe that it's going to keep Jacksonville safer. But I do believe this, man. If it is an issue with the policing in the community, man, and they need to bring other people in who could properly police the communities, then that's what needs to be done, okay? Or better yet, we need to properly train the people who are already policing the communities to make sure that they're policing the communities right if that's going to prevent an outbreak or more police brutality from taking place inside of the communities, okay? But I'm not totally against that, okay? Because believe me, man, I come from lower poverty communities and I see how the police in those communities, man, partake in the communities. They let a lot of stuff slide that wouldn't normally slide in other communities, okay? But then again, I will tell you this, man. When you go to certain communities, man, you don't see the police as often as you see police in lower poverty communities. But I do believe that it's a bad idea, to be honest. I believe it's a bad idea because, as I just said, they don't have any investments inside of the community. They have never been from the community, and, you know, they've never lived in the community like that. So with that being said, it's going to cause, you know, it's going to cause some type of drama.
Thanks so much. Let's bring in the mayor, Chokwe Antar Lumumba. Mayor Lumumba, thanks so much for joining us. So the state Senate version of the bill would remove the creation of this new unelected court system for parts of Jackson where a majority of the city's white population lives, which you likened to apartheid. But the state Senate version does still expand state control over other parts of Jackson. Are you satisfied with the changes made to the bill by the state Senate?
When I think about this bill in both of its forms, I think about the legal principle of res ipsa loquitur, which simply means that it is flawed in its very nature. So even with the changes, it is still an attack on Black leadership. It still is a Trojan horse cloaked in the notion of public safety, where it is not evidence-based, where it looks to not only fail to support the needs of the city that have been enumerated for many years. We have asked the state legislature for support in terms of ballistic technology to close cases. We have asked the state for support of our 21st century real-time crime center that helps officers when a crime is actively in progress. We have asked for support of violence interruption programming and credible messenger programming, all which have been denied and have met a deliberate indifference or a willful disregard of.
And see, this is why I tell you, this is the problem when you take the vote away from the community, right? Because then they have no, you have to understand, they have no power of who they vote in. And when these certain group of people get voted in, then issues like this continue to take place, okay? Where you're going to see people asking for help and not getting the help because the intention is to make the people look bad, okay? You're going to start to see that type of stuff. And this is because I keep telling y'all, bro, when we dealing with situations, especially when we talk about Mississippi, where racism is still prevalent, okay? Racism is heavy. And the reason I say racism is still heavy in Mississippi is because there is a lot of people who are still being raised by people who grew up in that area, all right? Okay, I'm talking about people that's around my age who their mothers raised them, and they were raised from that era, right? And then they still have that mind state, okay? And so, with that being said, they ain't trying to help the community. They're trying to make, and furthermore, they're going to try to make the politicians who are of a certain ethnical background or ethnical group look bad. Y'all can't hear me? Wow, they say I'm freezing. This is crazy, bro. Drop the nines if I'm good, y'all. Please drop them nines if y'all can hear me. Man. This is ridiculous. Drop them nines if you can hear me. Right. Garden Jason say as soon as I start talking about racism, I'm freezing. Okay. Omar say I can hear you. Okay, y'all good. Y'all good. Yeah. Like I said, bro, we talking about a community, bro, that's heavily, that I'm talking about the whole state as a whole, as a collective whole, still has a nasty background when it comes to racism. Okay? They still have a nasty background when it comes to racism. All right. And so with that being said, when you talk about a situation like this where the majority of the people who are already sitting in seats are white, and then they want to be the ones to elect certain people in, then you could bet your bottom dollar that the people that they're going to elect in is going to be majority white. And understand this, I'm not saying this from a racist standpoint. And I feel like anyone who does come in and want to make this make me look as if I'm racist, then shame on you, okay? I'm just giving the obvious, okay? Like I said earlier in the live, it's no difference, okay? It's no difference from going into a job and applying for a certain position where the majority of the people that's already in the position and that have a lot of say-so in you getting the position are from a certain ethnical group. Now, whether that be black, white, Asian, Hispanic, Latino, whatever the case may be, it lessens the chance of a certain ethnical group being able to get in there, okay? And that's because, now I'm not saying that there may not be one person in there because they don't want to make it look bad, okay? But you heard in the other thing I just said, other newscast I just showed, she said no one has held that position for years. No one has held that position for years, y'all. So what's the chances of them holding it now? All right? And so that's where the issue becomes in. And then because of that, as he just said, they've already asked for help in the community because right now what they're trying to say is they want to expand their police force because of the rising violence in the communities. But the mayor is saying that, they've already asked them for help on several occasions in which they were denied. They helped them. They asked them for advanced technology when it comes to ballistic. They want to be able to close some of the cases in there by getting better tests to be able to do better ballistic tests. But they've denied them on that, okay? Every time they ask them for help, they get shut down. And I want you to ask yourself, why? Why are they being denied? Why are they constantly being shut down, okay? And I'm going to tell you why. The reason they are constantly being shut down is because, like as he said, it's an attack on the black leadership in the community. They want to make the community look bad. They want to make the leaders of the community look bad and make it seem as if they can't do their job. So we're going to have to step in and do their job for them. Okay. And so therefore, if we can take over the people of the community and start to make them feel like that the people that they elected in ain't doing a good job, then, when it comes to other people getting elected that look like him, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard because they've already done a great job at making them look bad. Okay? So this is the issue, and I feel like they really ain't looking at the greater outcome of the community. They're not looking at the greater outcome of the community because, if they was, then they would know that it's going to be a bad idea for you to be bringing these white officers into this black community. Let me just say how it is, okay? It's going to be a bad outlook because majority of these officers that are not of their ethnical group coming into these communities, as he said, has no connection to the community. They have no feelings for the people in the community, and they're automatically going to be looking down on them, right? They're going to be timid to the community because of the level of violence in the community. And because they're timid, they're going to be quick to draw their weapons, and they're going to be quicker to shoot people. So now we're going to see the level of police violence, brutality violence rise in the community because you sent a group of officers in there that had no connection to the community. And because of that, they were very timid to the point where they started to shoot and ask questions last. That's just facts. And y'all drop them nines if y'all agree.
Jackson's needs. In order to have evidence-based solutions, you would need to know that the overwhelming majority of our violent crimes in Jackson are interpersonal. And so that is a very difficult matter to police. And so we're trying to intercede or stop this cycle where people are taking permanent solutions to temporary problems and bring other resources and other forms of intervention to the table in order for it to help our residents.
One of the bill's chief sponsors, State Representative Trey Lamar, he denies any racial motivation behind the legislation. He says the bill is an effort to address that crime in Jackson is soaring and there's a backlog in the courts. How do you respond?
Well, first and foremost, we just listened to the testimony of Cliff Johnson today of the MacArthur Justice Foundation.
That's BS, man. When you talk about large cities in general, man, you have to understand that there's a backlog in every large city in the world when it comes to cases being dealt with in the community. So that statement in itself is BS, bro. It's just a reason, bro, for them to say or justify why they're trying to do what they're doing. That's just a reason for them to justify the means. You feel me? Because if you go to Chicago, I guarantee you their backlogs are way beyond that. If you go to Houston, I guarantee you their backlogs are 2 to 3 years out. But me being from Chicago and Cook County, I've sat in those jails, and I've seen people who've actually sat in a county jail for 2 to 3 years fighting their case. And they haven't been in court. Some of those people haven't been in court for 3 to 4 months. This is how far the backlog is. Okay? So when I can guarantee you, you're seeing the same thing when you talk about Houston, when you talk about New York, when you talk about California, other cities that are very large, which I don't think Jacksonville is a pretty large state, a city. You see what I'm saying? It being the capital and all. So that's BS, man.
That did a actual true data comparison of the backlogs of Hinds County in comparison to other counties in the state of Mississippi. To scale, what you find is that there isn't a significant backlog in comparison to other places. Cliff Johnson also, Trey Lamar, when asked at the dais defending his bill why he felt that judges needed to be appointed rather than elected, he said, well, we simply want the best of the best. That feeds into the notion of inferiority. That feeds into the notion that this largely majority Black city is not smart enough or equipped enough to know who best represents them. There is no evidence-based rationale for the creation of this district. Whichever version, first of all, if you take the first version, we would need to ask from Trey Lamar, while his version of the bill selected the most densely populated white portion of the city. Jackson is 85% Black, but that portion is about 86%, encompasses 86% of the white population of Jackson. Was that by mere happenstance? There are no state facilities within that district. And so, he is using the Trojan horse that has been used historically on a number of occasions in order to disenfranchise and in order to abuse largely Black populations.
What would you say to a constituent who says, Mr. Mayor, I hear you and I agree, I don't trust the motivation of these individuals, but Jackson recorded the highest murder rate in the country for a city of over 100,000 people in 2021. Crime is a huge problem in Jackson. I'd rather have something than nothing, and they're not going to fund what you're asking for. This at least would provide some relief for the police that exist in the area that will not be included in this.
Yeah. Well, what I would say is that their concern is my concern. And that is why we continue to look for new solutions. That is why we not only recruit more officers, but talk about and build the institutions that I've told you about, such as our real-time command center, which we've done through our own resources. We've joined in with Wells Fargo Bank and National League of Cities to create an Office of Violence Prevention and Trauma Recovery, so that for every new officer, or as we're bringing on new officers, we're bringing on additional interventions, bringing in social workers and mental health experts to help curtail some of the challenges that we see in our community. Our sharpest rise in violence has been amongst our youngest demographic. And so instead of doing a curfew where there isn't detention centers to hold people, nor does it truly get to the root cause of why young people may find themselves in vulnerable places at vulnerable times, how do we have people who are specialized in the area of working with that population so that we teach, train, and support young people that they don't take
permanent solutions to their temporary problems. We can talk about and continue, not only in addition to the things that I mentioned, other supports that help our police department. But what we don't want to do in a moment of crisis is reach for a solution which is worse than where we find ourselves.
All right, Jackson Mayor Chokwe Antar Lumumba, thank you so much for your time today, sir. We appreciate it.
I'm just saying, man, that you know what, man, this is ridiculous, y'all. It really is really ridiculous, bro. When I say for the people who in Jacksonville, Mississippi, man, this should be a prime example of why you need to be getting up and going to those city council meetings. You need to be more active when it comes to what is going on inside of the communities. Therefore, you won't be blindsided when it comes to things like this inside of the community. That's facts. And it's just not for Jacksonville, Mississippi. It's for every other place, you know, every other city. We need to make sure that we're being involved, because not only do we suffer from it, our children suffer from it as well. And when we talk about dealing with a city or a state that has yet to begin to grow, or, you know, no matter how much they say that they're not who we say that they are, they're showing us on an everyday basis that they have not yet begun to evolve from that state of racism that the whole other side of the country or the world say that they've evolved from. This becomes an issue. All right? And so with that being said, man, I know I was freezing, man, but I think I'm going to go back live and touch on this situation from a whole nother standpoint, all right? And so I'm going to ask, if you here, man, please, please, please hit that post notification bell. That way you will be notified every time I go live on Facebook. Also, if you're on YouTube, please hit that notification bell and select all. That way you will be notified every time I post and go live over there as well, man. And, you know, with that being said, man, I just want to leave you guys as I came, man. I want you guys to always be aware, because to be aware is to be alive. And as always, peace, family. Peace meaning positive energy always creates elevation. Ashe.